everybody, and welcome to episode number 6 of the Clarity Project podcast. I am your host, Carl Umali. So, just like with before, I guess you already know the drill now. I'm going to read some of my notes from this notebook and I'm going to reflect on them. So, let's get started. So, this one, I guess, is from October 4, 2022. I guess because there's no date here, but the earliest date here is on October 4, 2022. And I remember when I was doing some notes, I only do the dates whenever it is a new day. So this is probably part of October October 4th. So let's get to it. Look at the term papers you wrote, all of the classes you took, all the people you dated, all of the things that you stress about, all of the decisions that you have made. 99% of them did not matter. So, what this passage is telling us is that for the most things that we did in our life, most of them do not matter, or that they have very little significance to the how you're living your life right now, or very little significance to how you're going to live your life in the future. This kind of passage is comforting in a way because it tells us that most of the things that we think are a big deal are actually such a small deal. And so this goes back to what I've said before in the past, which is the problem is not the problem. The problem is making the wrong things your problem. Another way of saying that is you used to think that you should make everything your problem, when in reality, there is only a very few things that matter, and there's only a very few things that you should make your problem. Once we see the world in this light, we could become more self-aware and more cognizant into trying to understand what is it exactly that I should focus on? What is it exactly that I should care about? What is it exactly that I should make my problem? The little inconveniences of life, they are frustrating, they are annoying, and they are the things that makes you suffer a little bit every day. These things oftentimes do not matter at all. We're talking about the little inconveniences during your commute, your little inconveniences at work, or whether you are in a line somewhere and whenever someone does something that's appalling. You can learn to be able to be in the present moment and really understand what is it exactly that's happening. Is this really affecting me negatively? Is this really going to control my day, my emotions, and how I'm going to live and how I'm going to feel about the rest of the day? Is this really worth it? Is this really something that is worth my attention and effort to? The more that you think about how 99% of the things that you're doing does not matter, the more that you're going to realize that most of these things has no power over you. Most of these things is not that significant enough for you to be angry about, for you to be stressed about, for you to lose peace about. And so, if this is the case, if 99% of the things don't matter, the next question is, what is the 1% that matter? Well, I cannot answer that for you, but it has something to do with how you make most of your time. And how you make most of your time and how you should make most of your time is entirely dependent on what you care about. It is entirely dependent on who you are and what you prioritize. It is entirely dependent on what matters to you in terms of your purpose, in terms of what you care about, in terms of what you feel you are here to do in this world. So you have to have that kind of self-reflection. You have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what is it that you care about? What is it that matters to me? And if you don't have an answer to that question, then it's going to be a longer journey for you because now you will be stuck just drifting. So, knowing the 1% that matters is a journey of self-exploration, of you seeing what matters more to you. And there are a lot of indicators on how you're going to know that. Number one, does it hurt not doing that thing? Can you not shut up about talking about that thing? Is it something that you feel fulfilled at? Is it something that you find peace in? Are you happy doing it? Are you happy with them? Are you happy being in a situation or in that activity? These things are indicators on knowing what is it exactly that you prioritize, what is it exactly that you care about. But I warn you, sometimes there is a false belief in terms of what you actually care about on things that feels good at the moment, but in reality it's not serving who you truly are. We're talking about vices that completely disrupts your physiological capacity to be able to discern what's actually good for you versus what's actually bad for you, because they destroy your ability to be able to discern clearly what is it exactly that's good for you. You become confused on choosing what's actually good for you and what's actually bad for you. You end up doing the things that's actually bad for you because it feels good. Yes, it might feel good, but it might only be temporarily. And this temporary happiness, this temporary dopamine hit will come back at you twofold, will come back at you usually when it's already too late. And so, again, knowing the 1% is a completely personal journey that you're going to go through. It could be that you care about your family. It could be that you care about your time, maximizing your time, having complete control over your time. It could be that you want to be an entrepreneur or that you want to be a high level employee. You want to be the best professional in this one thing, in this one task, in this one discipline. It could be making a positive impact in your community, your environment, or the cause that you're willing to advocate for. And once you get to this point of clarity, it is time for you to actually decide, okay, now that I know my clarity, now that I know what I want, what will prevent me from enjoying these things? What will prevent me from having to live this kind of life that I want? Once you have all of the things that contributes to your life and all of the things that disrupts you and prevents you from having that life, you're going to have a clear picture on the whole situation. And it's going to guide you and it's going to tell you what is it exactly that you should care about. What is it exactly that you should disregard. Gives you a roadmap on the things that you should do versus the things that you should not do, the things that you should pay attention to, and the things that you should ignore. The next time that you have a problem, the next time that you're in a situation, or the next time that you have to do something, you now can ask yourself, is this contributing to where I want to go? Is this contributing to who I am? Is this contributing to my own self-perception of what matters in my life? And that's the brutal thing about clarity. The brutal thing about clarity is that once you know these things and you have total absolute clarity on the things that you want to do, the good thing about it is that you can focus. But the brutal reality to that is that now you see the things that you should forget. Now you see the things that you should ignore. Now you see the things that you should drop. Now you see the things that you should quit. And sometimes those things that we have to quit hurt so much because it has been a part of our daily life for so long that it feels really difficult. It feels really bad to be able to say goodbye to these things because they have, in a way, became part of our daily routine. Maybe that goodbyes are the things that you actually cared about before. In that way, it could be a situation, it could be a job, it could be an activity, a hobby, a past love, it could be a person, it could be people, a group, a society that you once became a part of or is currently a part of right now. This brutal clarity hit makes you come in terms with the reality that sometimes, in order for you to progress, in order for you to move forward, you have to leave these things behind. And saying goodbyes is always difficult. Quitting is always difficult. And so, if you're going to go through this journey, know that it's not going to be easy. Because if you believe that quitting is easy, if you believe that saying goodbye is easy, then you're just going to confuse yourself and you're just going to have a false sense of reality and how you're going to get over that. And if you end up having this false expectation that it's going to be easy, Trust me, at the first sign of adversity, you will quit. At the first sign of problems, you will quit. At the first sign of difficulty, you're going to say to yourself, I thought that this was easy. It turns out I can't do it. Maybe I'm not fit for this. Maybe I can't change. And that all comes back just because you thought that it was going to be easy. So declare it to yourself. Say, okay, I'm going to change, and these are the things that I have to ignore. These are the things that I have to do. And I know it's not going to be easy. And it's probably going to be more difficult than what I think it is. And so I have to commit to this. I have to arm myself with this fact that it's not going to be easy, and I should just get going because it's not going to get any easier. All right, with that being said, let's move further and read more of the notes. The people have done stuff at two different parts of their life, lived two different lives. It's almost like the world they're living in are two different worlds. Let me repeat that. The people who have done stuff at two different parts of their life live two different lives. It's almost like the world they are living in are two different worlds. Now, when I wrote this down, I remember that I was thinking about the people who are the same age as me and probably the same neighborhood as me, who are probably experiencing the world in a different kind of lens. They're experiencing the world in this different vista, not because of their distorted reality, but because of the things that they are doing currently with their life. For example, when I was in college, I was just in college. Hey! Now, what do I mean exactly with the people who have done stuff at two different parts of their life live two different lives? Because for me, it's all about timing. It's all about when you did something that changes everything. So I was specifically thinking about the people in my neighborhood or my classmates or my past classmates or my batchmates that were the same age as me, the same town as me, same neighborhood as me, who married early or that they were in a or that they got involved in teenage pregnancy. And to my perspective, they got into that kind of life earlier than most people. Because for most people, and the expected thing is to be able to get into marriage at later in their life, to be able to have a family, start a family, and have kids later in their life. But because they get to experience that way earlier, their whole situation, their whole reality, their whole sense of reality, and how they look in terms of marriage and how they look in terms of building a family is completely different, even though you are virtually in the same neighborhood, even though that you are the same age. It's almost like they are living two completely different worlds. Because the whole experience of having a family, I imagine, is completely different from earlier in your life versus later in your life. You could also look at this in terms of career, in terms of you starting out early in your entrepreneurial journey versus you starting your first business at 50 years old. It could be about thinking about your career, of you starting out from a management position at this age versus someone who achieves senior and management position later in their career. So really, this just talks about timing. This just talks about the different chapters in your life and how seemingly that same chapter could be a chapter earlier or a few chapters earlier and completely change the whole novel and completely change the whole story. I think when I wrote that, that's what I was thinking about and that's what I was going for. So, yeah. That's pretty much it for episode number 6. And again, if you watch this in snippets or if you watch it as a whole, I'd like to be able to thank you and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye and thank you again.